It's a shell 1-2 yet again. John Bowe and Dick Johnson from the opening row. Russell Ingall and Larry Perkins 3 and 4.
Out of the second row, Tony Longhurst and Craig Lowndes moving up the order. Big charge from the HRT driver. Jason Bright and John Faulkner will start out of 7 and 8.
We go back to 9 and 10. Alan Jones, well done. He worked his way up from 15th to 9th in the new Komatsu Falcon. Jason Bargwana from 10. Finnegan and Steve Ellery 11 and 12.
Out of 13, Darren Hossack in the Wins Commodore. Steve Richards alongside the Valvoline machine. Thomas Mazera, privateer, first of the privateers. Out of 15, Glenn Seaton having all sorts of trouble in the Ford Credit Falcon. He starts out of 16.
We go back to Trevor Ashby out of 17. Paul Romano, who spun with Seaton. He's in 18. Mark Scape, who also spun at Hungary Corner, 19. Ryan McLeod out of 20.
21, Rod Nash. Darren Pate out of 22. Paul Wheel and Danny Osborne start out behind them.
Back to Karen Brewer, Mark Larkham, 25-26. Larkham had an electrical problem. Heffernan and Briggs, 27-28.
And Charles Ryman starts out at 29. He's replaced Greg Crick. He's first of the reserves in the privateer ranks. He replaces Greg Crick, who has retired for the day.
We didn't explain that to you earlier, but the privateers who missed out because of this maximum grid field of 29, they stayed around and filled in as reserves. So Charles Ryman is the first benefactor of that system. Watch to the back of the grid, wait for that green flag to come up. There it is. All right, get ready. 29 V8 set to do it all again. Race 2 of 3, round 3 of the Australian Touring Car Championship set to go. Let's do it again. Keep your eyes on Ingall. Away we go. He gets away to a great start. Tries to nudge through there. He comes in contact with Larry. Whoa, some action there. Through the keep they go. But it's the two shell cars that lead them through yet again.
Well, it's amazing. Look at that incident in the first heat when John Bowe went right in behind Dick Johnson. This is the day when the teammates having a bit of a collision with each other. But they've sorted themselves out. And Craig Lowndes, a sensational start. I think he's up to 3rd position as they came out of the carousel. And Mark Larkham looks like in trouble on the inside there too.
Great work there by Craig Lowndes to work his way up from 6th. Now there's problems in the back. Larkham that was. Now Bright and Jones, they're hassling each other. Ingall's through on the inside. It's Dick Johnson who leads the way. Let's hope he can keep it together this time. Back to Bowe, Ingall, then Lowndes. So Ingall got through on Lowndes. Back to Larry Perkins is the next one through. Behind Larry, it's Longhurst, then Faulkner.
You'd have to say the thing that's worrying everybody is the fact that the Bridgestones really seem to be in trouble today. So if you look at Lowndes, he's going okay at the moment, but they've had really terrible, very high temperatures with their tyres.
There's no stopping Dick Johnson at the moment. He is really pumped up to do well in this second race. The first one really should have been his, and we heard John Bowe say that earlier. There's Longhurst going through. He's sitting in 6th position at the moment in the Castrol Falcon. But it's Johnson and Bowe, 1 and 2. Now, Ingall was incredible towards the end of that last race. He really came up on these front two, so he's got plenty of time. He's well positioned in this one to do well.
It's just an indication of how fickle the tyre battle is in V8 supercars. We take Dunlop onboard camera looking out the back. John Bowe's car, Russell Ingall in pursuit. You think of the dominance of Holden Racing Team at Simmons Plains on the Bridgestones. No one could touch them. They went to the Australian Grand Prix, a non-championship round, but Ingall absolutely dominated on Dunlop. Hang on, John Bowe in trouble. And now here at Queensland's Lakeside Raceway, the Dunlops once again reign supreme. So it's a real tug of war in the tyre war. Here's John Bowe.
Wonder what the problem is here.
Most.
Is it a stop-go?
Yeah, it sounds like. Yes, it is.
Stop-go penalty, so maybe they said he jumped the start or something. We've received no word here in the commentary box, but that has just put Bowe from 2nd right to the back of the pack.
Charles Ryman, last man in the field, sneaks through, so John Bowe goes to the rear of the field. And we've seen this a number of times where he's had to charge his way through the pack. Boy, he's got his work cut out for him today.
Now, Dick Johnson looking good and looking comfortable. Lap 3 of 23. There's a long way to go. This is an interesting battle. The sole Bridgestone runner up the front of the pack, you could say, that is Craig Lowndes. He did well. He came from 10th to finish 6th. Now he's come from 6th up into 3rd position in this one.
It's quite funny. I asked Larry Perkins, I said, does the Falcon look after the tyres better than look after the tyres not as good as the Commodore? And he said, no, it's just the people that are driving the Commodore are smoother, you see.
He's a Holden man through it. Ingall gets a little bit wide on the entry to the carousel there. Lowndes gets right up behind the Castrol number 8 Commodore. Ingall a little bit tail happy coming out of the carousel. He tries to get the power down and keep Lowndes out of that position. Well,
we've got to keep a close eye on that, guys, too, as we get some great pictures from the Sid Chrome on-car camera looking out the rear of Russell Ingall's Castrol Commodore. Lowndes in pursuit. Something we've got to keep in mind is whether we're going to see some different lines in the carousel because of that track breakup.
That was a quick one from Dick Johnson, a 51.67. That's even quicker than the fastest lap he set in the first heat. That's good news for the Dunlop runners. new Dunlop 356, a new compound for 1998. It was absolutely dominant in the Australian Grand Prix. It looks like it's doing the same thing here. Johnson opens it up. 1.8 seconds. Over Russell Ingall in second position. Lowndes in third. Perkins completes the Castrol sandwich. Tony Longhurst in fifth. That's Faulkner, Bright, Alan Jones continuing his charge. Jason Bargwanna, good move from him. And Darren Hossack, the first of the Wins Commodores, climbs into the top 10.
Well, that's a fantastic effort by Hossack if he can remain there. He's ahead of Stephen Richards, Glenn Seaton and Mark Scape. He's got 3 hot charges on his tail, so Hossack, plenty of pressure on him. Here's Ingall. He's pulled out a bit on Lowndes at the moment. Perkins is going well also.
It is so hot out there. It is unbelievable, the temperatures. I know that Russell Ingall just ran through the scroll on his data acquisition on his dashboard. It showed the ambient temperature inside the car, 61 degrees.
Yep. Here is a profile on Craig Lowndes, the 23-year-old. He actually shares his time between Brisbane and Melbourne. He just bought a house up here in Brizzy. And that is an amazing record there. 12 starts from 8 wins. That is a 66% winning record. An unbelievable effort by the 1996 Series champ and the 1996 Sandown champ and the 1996 Bathurst champ.
So Russell Ingall looks like he's opening up a car length or 2 on Lowndes.
If you look at Lowndes' car now, it's starting to look like it did in qualifying. It's starting to wallow all over the show. You see, it's during qualifying, the thing looked like it was too soft and all sort of spongy, and it's starting to look like it again. So I don't know whether the tyres are really getting...
Perkins.
Larry giving the hurry up.
Or just watching Lowndes' times. He's hanging in there, 51.75.
Does look like he's struggling a bit, though.
To Russell Ingall, just in his fastest lap, the previous one, a 51.57. So Ingall, the fastest man on the track at the moment, trying to close that gap to Dick Johnson. He's pulled 3/10 out of it. 1.4 seconds the gap now between Johnson and the lead. And second place. And a little bit of a brush up there from Larry Perkins. You can see the rear bumper bar flex there under the pressure.
He's giving Lowndes a good workover through the carousel. Keep your eyes on this, because as they come under the Dunlop Bridge and down into Hungary, they hit 225 kilometres per hour.
Watch Lowndes' thing here.
As it climbs out.
Oh, yes, it's just unbelievable. It didn't. In practice, he had the thing 3 feet off the ground on the inside wheels.
Longhurst is staying in touch back in 5th position. Faulkner 6th, Bright 7th, Jones in 8th, Bargwanna. Richards has got past Hossack to get up into the top 10.
Well, John Bowie really is a tiger. He's starting that charge from the back of the pack. He's already up to 22nd position, and he will keep it pedal to the metal the whole way, mate. No doubt about that.
Big rap for Mark Larkham too, because he's come from 26th to 19th, so he's grabbed 7 spots very quickly.
So the order now, Dick Johnson's 1.2 seconds, the gap back to Ingall. Ingall is in pursuit and he's closing on our race leader. Here's a great battle. Oh, up the inside goes Jason Bright.
Oh.
Faulkner just, you see him just dab the brakes there mid-corner? Bit of psychology there, nice work. Well, it was interesting yesterday at one of the Meet the Public for the drivers meetings, where Larry Perkins said, Jason Bright's been saying I've been pushed around a bit in V8, huh? And Larry said, well, it's not over, son.
Yeah, typical Perkins bluntness. Welcome to the big league.
It's quite funny because Larry doesn't mean to be funny.
Oh,
yes, gotcha.
He certainly means to be fast.
Larry doesn't mean to be. He comes out with some priceless one-liners.
A bit like you, Baz.
Didn't muck about there. Now that's interesting. Lowndes has just fallen right off the pace of 53.1 last time around. He's losing speed in that Holden Racing Team Commodore. And judging by the struggle the Bridgestone runners have had this weekend, you'd have to suspect it would be tyres.
Larry Perkins now up into the top 3.
You see the back end of Lowndes' thing, but that's what it was like in qualifying. It just looked all wrong.
They have been struggling. A lot of understeer. Mark Scape's big complaint yesterday. He just couldn't dial the understeer out of the car. They worked overnight on shock absorber settings, all sorts of suspension adjustments to try and get those tyres working better. Larry Perkins, who now moves up to 3rd position in the order, 48 years of age from Melbourne, 100 starts, Australian Touring Car Championship, and it's quite extraordinary when you see this man's success at Bathurst, how little success he's had in our National Touring Car Series.
He first raced here at Lakeside in a Chevron Formula Pacific car back in 1981. The man who, well, a lot of years of his career was spent in open wheelers before he even stepped inside a touring car.
You can see that where that track's breaking up, those cars are driving right over the top of it. It's just on the outside of the exit to the corner.
Russell Ingall's pulled another 10th back on DJ that last time.
Yeah, it's under a second now. 0.8 of a second. Well, you don't need to stopwatch. You can see the gap closing. It's visual.
And Ingle repeating, Mark, what he did in the first race, just 0.2 of a second off the lap record.
So Dick Johnson hard at work on the barbecue on wheels, as Barry Sheen described it. And John Bowe said that was a very accurate description. 60 degrees inside this thing. Try and get pump as much fresh air into the car as possible, but it's very, very hard.
Somebody's gone off up the top there. Plenty of dust in the carousel. Have they gone off or just touched the outside of the circuit?
Oh, gee, there's a real dust storm there.
The Shell Helix in-car camera. We ride with Dick Johnson, your race leader at the moment, the man who, as we heard John Bowe say, really should have taken out the opening race, but got caught up in an unfortunate situation. Quick shot there. Russell Ingle is catching big time. Here comes the enforcer.
He's closing the gap big time. Now look at that. He's just been chomping away. A few tenths of a second per lap. Now he's right up behind Dick Johnson. We've got a real battle on our hands.
Oh, Seaton, look at that. Boy, he's...
Yeah, he's taken for a ride across the country and has snapped off that front spoiler.
You'd have to say that Lakeside isn't very lucky for Glenn, is it?
Well, last year it was a complete nightmare. He won the first race. Here comes Russell Ingle, the outside on Dick Johnson. 250 kilometres per hour, and around the outside goes Ingle. How about that? Gives him the inside run for the carousel. We've got a new race leader.
Ah, dear, oh dear. He's going to pay the price for that. Dick Johnson would not like being beaten on his home turf. He's going to come back. And Russell Ingle, so much speed from this car.
How about the guts to go around the outside through the gig?
The crowd are going absolutely nuts. Side by side, 250 kilometres an hour through the sweeper. Russell Ingle knows no fear. Johnson tried to hold him out right up on the ripple strips, but Ingle was beautifully positioned for the right-hand sweep into the carousel.
Fantastic action. So we have a new race leader, Castrol Commodores. Russell Ingle now leads Dick Johnson. Back to Perkins. Lowndes is still hanging in there in fourth at the moment. Lap 12 of 23. So a long way still to go in this one, but Ingle just keeps on getting stronger and faster.
Keep in mind that under the new tyre regulations, all the Dunlop runners have to run the same tyre, same compounded tyre. So Johnson and Ingle are both on the same rubber.
Oh, there's a bit of action going on now.
And popular word around the pitch is the Commodores perhaps use their tyres a bit easier on their tyres over the race distance. Maybe that's coming to the fore now as Ingle starts to build on that advantage. Replay here.
Oh, car number 7, that's Darren Pate. Is it? No, Darren Hossack, sorry. Darren Hossack in the wins, Commodore.
That's a shame. He was going really well early in the race. He was right up into the top 10, and that's dropped him right out of that order.
You know, that's the second time he's done a full 360 and kept going. He did it at the Australian Grand Prix support race as well. And this is the view from Dick Johnson's car of Larry Perkins reeling him in big time. We've already seen Larry's teammate Russell Ingle passed Dick Johnson a couple of laps ago, and he's clearing out. Now Larry's starting to turn up the heat on Dick as well.
I think Larry must have made a bit of a mistake that last lap, because he lapped almost half a second slower than he had been lapping. Yeah, apparently he just went off a little bit after the carousel, so that's what happens when you're trying hard, and sometimes you outrace yourself.
Well, they're starting to come back. And Russell Ingle opening it up now on Johnson, 1.4 seconds. So continuing that dominant form he showed here just 12 months ago, when he fought his way through from the back of the field. Castrol Commodores very competitive at Lakeside. Dick Johnson competitive too, but I think we're just starting to see it emerging. The Commodores perhaps using the tyres a little bit better than the Fords. And let's look at this Triple M telemetry out of Dick Johnson's back. Now Larry, he really leaves it coming out of the carousel there. Opened up a big gap.
An update on some other drivers. John Bowe, according to our records here, has actually pulled off the circuit, and we're still trying to find out what that stop-go penalty was. Mark Scaife has come from 19th up to 11th, and Mark Larkham from 26th to 16th.
And Alan Jones, meanwhile, he's up to 7th, so he's been making great guns throughout the day. A really good debut for the Komatsu Ford. Meanwhile, back with Dick Johnson, you're watching telemetry live on the Shell 17 Ford. Road speed on the left of your picture, engine revs on the right of your picture, and right in the middle is the brake light.
Hear that?
Yeah, just well, it's so tight. That's a lot tighter than it actually looks, and you know, if you get on it in a big way out of that, get yourself in major trouble.
in second position. He's the meat and the Castrol sandwich at the moment. Ingle, 1.2 seconds. So he's sort of holding the gap as they pick their way through traffic. Just maintaining about 1.2 seconds, Johnson. Their lap times are almost identical, this leading three. So Perkins now tries to close the gap again to Dick. In the lone forward, Craig Lowndes still back in fourth position. Tony Longhurst in fifth. We've got 4 laps remaining. Charles Ryman.
Isn't it interesting today, guys, to see the first couple of rounds of the year, all the talk was of the young guys really starting to ruffle the feathers of the more experienced drivers. Well, here's the big slap back in the face from the older guys to say we can still do it, and we can still do it very fast.
Dick Johnson in this beautiful new number 17 Shell Ford, making its debut at Lakeside. This will become the team's Bathurst car.
I reckon DJ's got Larry under control, you know, because he's... I
think he does. Look at those lap times. Like it's... Not again.
Darren Pate
can't stand it.
Darren Pate just getting a bit of trouble in the second of the Wins Commodores, but he stays right out of the racing line.
In that first race when Paul Wheel was... Oh, it's Faulkner. Oh, dear me.
Well, Charles Ryman, the reserve privateer, was already in the kitty litter. Might have been a little bit of oil down there. Let's have a look at the Helix replay.
I
think he does. Look at those lap times. Like it's... Not again.
Darren Pate
can't stand it.
Darren Pate just getting a bit of trouble in the second of the Wins Commodores, but he stays right out of the racing line.
In that first race when Paul Wheel was... Oh, it's Faulkner. Oh, dear me.
Well, Charles Ryman, the reserve privateer, was already in the kitty litter. Might have been a little bit of oil down there. Let's have a look at the Shell Helix replay. Another incident.
Oh.
Whoa.
Karen Brewer.
Yeah, she was in trouble in the first heat. She's just hanging on to it, gets it back onto the black stuff.
She kept the boot into it, though, mate.
Absolutely.
Look at Jonesy with a hand out the window saying, what is going on?
Oh, yes, it was the same thing before.
Yeah. In the first heat, Alan Jones came across Karen getting back onto the track, so he's a bit exasperated there. But here's our race leader, Russell Ingall, 1.7 seconds ahead of Dick Johnson. Boy, another one's taking a ride. Yeah.
They like doing the dirt track stuff today, don't they? 2 more laps to go in race 2, and Russell Ingall is looking really good at the moment. He cleaned up in race 3 here at Lakeside last year. There's your Shell Helix race score for you, but it's looking pretty cosy up the front. I don't think those positions are going to change. We just got a quick shot there of Craig Lowndes coming onto the main straight. He's a long way behind. Longhurst has remained consistent, and he looks like picking up his second, 5th from 2 starts, and Bright has done extremely well. He's back there in 6th position.
This is a really impressive fight back from Dick, the way that Ingall just pushed his way past him. The amount of ground that Larry was making, it looked like he may have been in some sort of trouble, but he's picked up his speed, and he looks to be holding Larry up quite comfortably. I think he's going to catch this man. Russell Ingall, very determined to win his first Shell Australian Touring Car Championship in 1998. And he's doing all the right things at Lakeside this afternoon.
Well, he's sitting 3rd in terms of the championship points, is Russell Ingall. At the start of this round, that's where he finished last year's Shell Australian Touring Car Championship, and he is on his way home. 1 more lap left to go. Thomas Mazira is the top privateer. He's sitting in 13th position outright from Trevor Ashby, Kevin Heffernan, John Briggs and Paul Wheel. They're your top 5 of the privateers.
Keep in mind the privateers running on the Yokohama control tyre for the first time, meaning that all the privateer cars are running on exactly the same rubber. And it provides a level playing field for the low-budget battlers. It's a great initiative.
To be quite frank, it'd be great if the whole lot were on the same tyre, actually. It's there's really good argument for a control tyre because...
well, I mean, you can see the fickle nature of the tyre battle so far this year.
Exactly
there's a Bridgestone track, there's a Dunlop track, there's a Yokohama track sometimes, but that's the way it works.
Well, 9 years ago was the first time Russell Ingall raced at Lakeside in a Formula Ford. Now he's here in a V8 Supercar, and the hand is out the window. He is very happy. Ingall takes out race 2. Dick Johnson gets there for 2nd spot in the Shell Helix Ford. Russell Ingall is very happy.
I was going to say, the thing I like about Russell Ingall, and the fans obviously like about him too, is the enthusiasm he shows for winning. Yeah. Some guys...
Look at him.
Yeah, he really, really loves winning.
I have to say that enforcer name didn't... I'm more like the entertainer, because wherever he's involved in, it's always a bit of action.
Yeah, he loves it. Look at that. Soaking up the applause from the crowd, who just went absolutely berserk when he went around the outside of Johnson through the sweep at 250 kilometres an hour, no backing off.
Well, it was an unbelievable move, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Just fantastic. Russell Ingall, well, he'll be feeling how he felt at the the end of race 3 last year, but he's got another one up his sleeve. Can he do it again? He starts from the #1 position in the next race. Dick Johnson got there for second and Larry Perkins hung on for third. Russell has got his hands in the air all the way around the circuit.
I've done it. Yeah, they like him up here too. He's a real charger.
Well, that's the thing, you know, even with all the controversy last year and the trouble he got himself in, the crowd loved it. You remember here last year, you know, they were all highly appreciative of his efforts.
Well, as he cruises back, the Castrol team will be delighted. Dick Johnson, a really consistent day, 2 starts and 2 seconds. So things are looking good for Johnson as we ride with Russell Ingall on the way back into the pits, and we check out the results for you of race 2. Of course, we know the top 3. Craig Lowndes, he dropped off the pace a little, but was able to hang on to his 4th spot and be the best Bridgestone finisher. Well done to Craig. Tony Longhurst, another 5th position, and that was a steady run for him. Back in 6th position was Jason Bright in the Pertec Falcon. A good run by him. Alan Jones keeps on getting better as the day goes on. Stephen Richards up into 8th. Now, Mark Scaife, that's a great effort. From 19th up into 9th position. And Stephen Ellery, a top 10 finish. Finnegan, Romano, Mazira, the top privateer. Larkham from 26 to 14. And Ashby rounding out the top 15.